All right, guys, real quick here, I'm going to do a chestnut update here on the tree I'm trying to save. When I do these radical or high-end pushes on plants like this, typically when you think of what your numbers should be, I throw those out the window. Remember, I'm trying to save a tree, so oftentimes you have to go quite a bit higher if the tree is lacking in nutrition. So this is the tree I've been trying to save. This is what 25 pounds has done to the grass and all the other surrounding plants, right? Explosive growth. That is what I'm trying to implement in this tree. So real quick before I show you the tree, see how thick this is? It's going to be probably thicker than my hay field. And then suddenly we get down to here, right? This is where the fertilizer stopped. No fertilizer, and it's grown, you know, probably what you would consider normal if you're used to something like this. Then you look here, and it's lush and green. So that tells you I have loaded this ground up on the first go around. So what has the tree done? Well, here he is. So, doing even better. I am now beginning to see the leaves are basically what I look for in healthy plants is shiny leaves. Plants that are healthy, whether it's grass or trees, tend to have a bit of a shine, like that tree over there or this tree right here. Very shiny leaves. Let me get a close-up of this. So maybe you got something to compare it to when you're looking at shininess. They are very, of course the sun is back here unfortunately, but you see how it's very reflective. These newer leaves are super shiny. It's just hard to do it when the sun's at your back. And by the way, there's your catkin production. Go boron. All right, so this tree has big leaves, shiny, dark green leaves. So now I gotta compare what I'm seeing to this. So here's a few low-hanging fruits here that I can show you. All right. Now, green is starting to fill in, right? The color is improving. Matter of fact, this is much better than what it was last week, color-wise. It's still the lightest green tree of the group, okay? Shine is showing up. See it now? How it's got a bit of a reflective look. If this was in full daylight, it'd be a lot easier to see it. The health of this tree is on the increase. I don't think... Oh, actually, I want to recant my statement. This tree is now producing catkins. Very, very good sign here, guys. There's enough strength that I'm seeing catkins. So let me see them. If the wind will cooperate for just a little bit here. There they are. There is actually hope now that this tree is going to produce. Growth rates are starting to improve, although it is kind of slowing down. But I want to reiterate something here. Usually when I see these catkins develop, growth can temporarily stop, and then it can happen again after the catkins are done being produced. So I'm not concerned too much right now. Just the fact that I'm seeing a lot of, not red flags, but green flags here, that this tree is about to pull out of it. One thing I want to note here too is if a tree does survive or manages to get ambrosia attacked and survives it, usually the following year, if you do not put out a lot of fertilizer to pump that tree to help override it, you're going to lose a year of production. Practically going to guarantee that. I know I'm adding some extra stuff to this video, but so be it. Some of you might need to know this. This tree survived ambrosia last year. That's why I left these suckers here, because I wasn't quite sure how this remaining piece was going to react. And I added a good dose of fertilizer here to this one because I knew it needed it. The leaves are super dark green. Right, this is very, see the shine on this one? That's what this other tree is building toward. Look how reflective that is. Really good and green looking here. The whole top is that way, and it's producing this year. I lost a full year's of production last year. So it is growing already more than 8 to 10 times last year's growth rate, which says a lot about how much this tree came close to dying. So there you go. This tree is on the rebound. I believe I'm going to classify this as a saved tree for now. The fertilizing experiment is not done. I can also take this really highly productive area now, mow that down, and refertilize it through rotting debris. So that will be somewhat of a secondary slow feed fertilizer once I bush hog that down. I'm going to wait for maximum growth to build soil around that tree to help improve the water retention around it. So I think a lot of these right here are in excellent shape, growing very well. You know, even that one's growing so much now that I've been hammering away at those Ambrosia beetles. I mean, heck, why not include this one in the update? And then I'll be done. Okay, I'll save a catkin update for later. I've got to do some planting. But this one is booming. Look at how shiny that one is. That's very good sign now that this Ambrosia, even my backup, I've sprayed another round of biotin on there, and I didn't see any more beetle activity. It practically ceased. And look at all these sprouts. So this is the case. I'm getting rid of them because I've already got my two main guys. We don't need energy suckers at this point. So I'm keeping, this is my only situation where I'm keeping control, because if these guys was not here, then I would leave these shoots. But this one's already thickened up really nicely. Now this one's starting to. So good news on many fronts today. You can tell where the fertilizer is kicking in on here. I didn't use a heavy amount around this tree, just a very light amount, because this one was going to be some issues here. So much growth, and I probably was better off not fertilizing it. I may stake it, we'll see. But happy me, this tree is on the rebound. It definitely is the weakest one of the bunch, but it is surviving. Some of the growth in here is probably about 8 inches, which beats last year's average. There's other places maybe 3 or 4 inches, but no more death. Leaves are getting greener and healthier, and I think it's a matter of time before I can get this tree to snap out of it. All right, guys, there's your update, and it's time to do planting.